Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Lili Nishmasi Mimerosi Uspas Mordechai. Because the daf is very long, a lot of words, and we have to get to the end of the daf. We have to finish the paragraph because tomorrow is a brand new sefer. I don't want people to schlep two Gemaras with them. So we have to start slightly early, knock out most of the emails. I'll read one email. Save the date, November 2nd, Manchester Siyum, where it all started. Rabbi Bernard David. We should daven for Bernard David. Doiv Ber Ben Gundel, the Refuah Shlaima. Ezra Hashem will be there, nice and healthy. So here's the poster. You can show the poster if you want. This is a picture of the famous Ofishel from Ofishel Catering, Ofishel in action, learning in zchus of Avi Mendelbaum at a Chana. You could tell that he's learning for Avi because on the screen, if you look at the screen, it's brachas. That's what we had in the background during brachas and Shabbos. So l'chayra, that's what it is. He's doing a different masechta. By Mati Stengi, one email. I've been meaning to write to you since I learned that these emails give you chizuk. The ones without complaints, which is likely the only thing I can possibly give back to you. But I keep getting held up because there's a lot I want to write, so I never find the time. Still, I can't go into the new year without expressing my karsa for what the shir has done for my son Yehuda and for myself as well. My son Yehuda used to sit right over here next to you. Unbelievable guy. Now he's in Yeshiva G'dayla. Came every day. There was one day where I was in Yerushalayim, gave a shir in Yerushalayim. He drove to Yerushalayim for the night shir. He got back 1-2 in the morning and was here early for davening and for the shir. Great guy. Hope he's doing well. I hope he's still doing the daf. But Yehuda came first and he schlepped his father with him. So Mati's here. Kids, so Mati sits right over there towards the end of the table. Suffice to say, where Yehuda is holding today is largely to your credit. You've been the ultimate model of a Jew, looking at genuine, loving, connected, above all, dedicated to serve Hashem. I'm not going to go into all the miles over here because we're going to have a whole daf about Gaiva and how you... the father is cool, right? Every Rosh Hashanah, you got to tone it down a little bit. I myself feel privileged to be part, however small, of a movement that is infusing an ever-growing portion of Klal Yisrael with everything it needs today. Ahavas chinam, simcha, chesed, achdus. Supreme importance of Torah, all delivered in a way that's shava l'chol nefesh. The guys I brought into the shir so far from all walks of Jewish life, everyone connects to you, the daf, the dentist. Lastly, if I thought the limud would be b'di'evet for me, I found the perspective of mahalach to make it lechatchila with lots of chazara. See, each and every one to their own. If you do more chazara, the better. The goal is just learning the breadth of Shas rather than needing to understand the smallest detail of every sugya. We'll get back to that later. Hashem should give you and your family a year of expanding this incredible project as much as possible. Amen. With much thanks and respect and admiration, Mati Stengi, Shkaicher Mati. The Koilel is sponsored for the success of our family that we merit to always crown Hashem. The Masechta is sponsored by Baruch ben Moshe, Aaron, Moshe Loza ben Not Shalom. That's love for my children. Jeff Rosner, Reb Eli. We need a big amen here. Young kid with, I believe, the machla, back in the hospital. In zchus of my son, Yosef Simcha Chaim, ben Sarah Chana, Refuah Shlaima. Amen. The rest of the Masechta is sponsored by Ofishel Mitzva Motivators, the Refuah Shlaima of Avraham Mנשה ben Chana Bracha. Also, he was home. They rushed back with an ambulance. Then he got COVID, so nobody could visit him. His immune system is down. The parents of Achodesh, the MDY Family. It's always on that side for some reason. I don't know. The parents of Chodesh, Refuah Shlaima Yecheskel ben Leah, from Lakewood, it's messed up a little bit because Torah is the best segula. Parents of Chodesh number 4, Refuah Shlaima Yecheskel ben Leah, and here it is. As a zchus that Hashem should watch over me and ensure that I'm completely healthy. Admeh ve'esrim. The Parnasai Yoim, 5 of them. Menachem and Chaya Braun, Mazel Tov on the engagement of Yosef Braun to Chaya letter. Mazel Tov. Yoel Dovid Goldstein to my dear friend Abba Renner and Reb Eli for being my mentor and Hatzlacha in everything. The Sitram Films. Where's Yaakov Sitran? Hey, Yaakov! sitting next to each other, 2 stars here. In honor of Reb Eli Shlita, Rebbelly, one word. Reb Eli Shlita and the MDY squad. By Mayor Planka, Mechi Wurzberger, and the Zichron B'Yom Toronto crew Wurzberger to wish Reb Eli MDY Family a Gityar. Everybody, they wish you guys all Gityar. And in honor of Yossi Wurzberger being a guest today. And Shalom Aleichem. How do you know that?
I told my father I was thinking about.
Well, you're originally from Toronto?
No, I'm from Cedarhurst.
Originally from Cedarhurst. So what are these guys? Aren't these guys
My
from?
Toronto.
Okay. Shkoyach, Yossi Wurzberger. I was worried that before Yom Tov we're not going to have any guests. Geschmack. And finally, the 5th sponsor, Lili Nishmas Avraham Ben Dov. Yehuda Zev Yachnes is taking on some Daf and Yivamis, and if the famous Eli Trapper from Zoom is making a siyum on 2 Masechtas this Shabbos, zchus Avi Mandelbaum. All right, here we go. We're holding in the last words of Daf Ayin Vav Amud Beis. B'chacham moimrim b'medvar amurim b'murim shebeseiser. There's a difference between defects that the chasam could see or he can't see. If he sees them, he's able to see them, then everything goes out the window. But if in other words, if he sees them, he has no taina because Sovar V'Kibel, he saw them and nevertheless he got engaged to her. Omar Rav Nachman, V'nichpel, if somebody has epilepsy, Kimumim Shebeseiser Dami. That's considered a hidden mum. Why is it a hidden mum? But everybody knows that somebody has epilepsy. If the person has a specific time of the day, every day at 12 o'clock, they have a seizure. So they know to hide during that time so nobody will know about it. But they could be walking the street and all of a sudden they have an attack. There's a person that comes every day to the shir, a huge part of the shir. He had a child that used to have seizures every single day, and he decided to move out of the neighborhood. He moved to a few blocks away. I asked him why. He said, Mishana Moka, Mishana Mazel. And lo and behold, Belia and Hara, it's already 2 years, not a single seizure since they moved. Unbelievable. Maisa Shai, he doesn't like when we talk about it, but maybe it's a good. No, I care for the Olam. The rest of the Olam could take. I had another neighbor across the street from me. It's not a good ending yet, but they moved. I said, why are you moving? They moved to Yerushalayim. Because I think Reb Chaim said that he has 2 unmarried daughters, Mishana Moka, Mishana. He picked himself up, took everything, and moved out. This is just 2 months ago. So Be'ezer Hashem, Shvan Shiduchim.
And everyone's leaving.
Who?
Everyone's leaving.
Everyone's leaving. Mishana Moka, Mishana Mazel. Bye. See you later. Says the Heilige Mishnah. This is the last day for Moshe Cohen, zchus for limud Torah and continue Hatzlacha in Parnasa. Amen. The official Mishnah, ha'isha nodu by women. Until now, we're talking about women who have defects. What about the man? Since women are not as vain as men, for the most part, for most women. So she can't force her husband to divorce her just because he has a mum. That's only b'mumim aktanim. Smaller mum. Mum agdoilim, as the Gemara is going to explain, large mums, blindness, whatever. Yeah, she doesn't have to stay with him. Says the Gemara, there's 2 ways to read the Mishnah. 2 different gersais. Rabbi Yehuda, Tani Noldu, that the mumim developed after they got married. In that case, you can't force the husband to divorce. They were beforehand. In that case, you can't force the husband to divorce. Certainly, if you say that they came about after marriage, so of course, if they came about before marriage, he doesn't divorce her. Why? Because Sarva V'Kibla. If she had no idea they're going to happen, and they happen, and you don't force a divorce, so certainly if she knew that they were there, she accepted upon herself. But the Mandam says, only when can she force a divorce? When they were there beforehand, because she knew about it. But if it was a surprise, she could force a divorce. Now, larger mumim, you could force. If you say the pshat is they occurred after marriage, you can make a distinction between larger mumim and smaller mumim. A larger mum, she doesn't want to give in, she doesn't want to be married to this guy. What if the pshat is that they were there before marriage? What difference does it make how large the mum is? Whatever the size is, however bad it is, she accepted upon herself. Says the Gemara Big Yisoid, that we're going to see in the Mishnah also. You say, a person has the right to say, I thought I could deal with it. However, today, I realize that what I thought then is wrong. I can't stand you. Get me out of here. As Tosfos, if that's the case, then every woman can marry. You have a trick. If she's a bad woman, she goes over to somebody that has a terrible machla, and she says, listen, I want to marry you. The guy gets all excited, they get married. The next day, she says, I thought I can marry you, but I can't be married to you. Give me my ksuba. Says, Tais is an amazing thing. And if there's no prenup? Got it. Okay. There's actually a couple here in Mabit Shemesh, it's unbelievable. She's blind, he's in a wheelchair, and they have an unbelievable marriage. Unbelievable. So, Taisa says a great thing. He says, if Bezdin suspects that this is what happened over here, they don't give her a ksuba. They have the right to deny her a ksuba. What's a big mum? He's blind in one eye. Nikta yadai, one arm. I have a picture of a guy that has all three of these. Mumim, Rabbi Side, here goes. He's missing an arm, leg, and he's blind in one eye. No, but it's all three different people. Itmar Rabbi Abba Bar Yaakov. Omar Rabbi Yochanan, Halacha Kerb Shimon ben Gamliel, that if there's a large mum, that she could demand a get. Rav Amar Rav Nachman Halacha Kedei Chacham, she cannot demand a get, even in a large mum. Ask the Gemara, Omar Rabbi Yochanan Hachi. Omar Rabbi Bar Bechana Omar Rabbi Yochanan. Bekal Mokim Sheshana Rishim Gamliel. We have a klal. Rabbi Yochanan himself says a klal. Anywhere in Shas, and it's, I don't know, I didn't do a search. Hundreds of times in Shas that Reb Shimon Gamliel is mentioned. The Mishnah Seinu, Halach Gemaisai. Maybe not hundreds, I don't know. In Gemara, hundreds. But in the Mishnah, anytime his name is mentioned, it's always the halacha like him. Chutz, Me'arev, Tzaidim, V'rayach Roina. 3 places in Shas. So what's the Gemara's kasha? If Rabbi Yochanan gives us a yisoid, that no matter what, the halacha is like Reb Shimon Gamliel, so then why does Rabbi Yochanan repeat himself and say, oh, in our Mishnah, the halacha is like Reb Shimon Gamliel? He already said it. We know. Besides, 3 places in Shas, the halacha is like Reb Shimon Gamliel. Says the Gemara, Meroininu v'aliba de Rabbi Yochanan, Reb Abba Bar Yaakov, who says in the name of Rabbi Yochanan that the halacha is like Reb Shimon Gamliel, he doesn't hold of that psak that the halacha is like Reb Shimon Gamliel in all Shas. He never heard that. He has to say wherever he thinks the halacha that Rabbi Yochanan said the halacha is like Reb Shimon Gamliel, he repeats it. He said Rabbi Yochanan said the halacha is like Reb Shimon Gamliel. The other Amayr says no. Rabbi Yochanan said a general rule. It's always like Reb Shimon. There's no need to repeat ourselves. Says the Mishnah, and this might be the last time that we hear from Moshe Cohen. I hope not. Zchus for leaving that Torah and continue Hatzlacha in Parnasa. Amen. Ve'elu shekoven, right? It's Parnasa. Parnasa is Rosh Hashanah. It's mamish. This is when we daven for it for the whole year. Whatever happens in Rosh Hashanah, that's it. It doesn't matter. You could jump from here to there, get another job, open 3 more businesses, whatever they tell you on Rosh Hashanah, that's what you get. These are the ones that you can force a get. She could force her husband to divorce her. Mukashchin, picture, here's a mukashchin. Let's say, I don't know, Dr. Factor last time told me it's called neurofibromatosis. Okay, leprosy, whatever it looks like, I have no idea. But it's a disease, it boils on the skin. To me, this is what looks like boils. It's mama's growth. There's a mum and there's a mum. This is a mum that a woman can say, no, listen, Atkan. Tainus Mos is like, okay. And this also, the shchin of the Gemara, leprosy, that the limbs fall off. Pasha, they fall off, and we're going to see in the Gemara soon. Ubal Poilipus. We're going to see what that is. V'amekametz. This is a good one. V'amitzarv Nechoshes. A coppersmith. V'abursi, and a tanner. These are all, they smell really bad. The way to maybe remember this daf Ein Zayin is A's, a goat. A guy had told his friend, I just brought a goat into the house. We have a guy that davens here every morning. I told you this, he, instead of getting a dog for his children, he got a goat. He used to run around the neighborhood with a goat and a leash. You remember him? Yeah, okay. He doesn't have it anymore. Now he has different things.
They burn bad smelling stuff.
Okay. Yeah, but what does that have to do with us? But anyways, so this guy brought a goat into his house. So his friend asked him, what are you going to do about the smell? He says, the goat will get used to it. Don't worry about it. So it's a very bad smell there. These people smell really, really bad. She can't get used to it. She can't get used. She demands a get. It doesn't matter when it happened, if it was before the marriage, after the marriage, if he became a mukashchin after the marriage, certainly before also. Even if she was dating him when he was a mukashchin, she didn't know he looks like this maybe, I don't know. Says the Mishnah, he made a deal with her. He said, we're going to get married. I'm a mukashchin. She could always say the svara, I thought I could control myself, overcome myself, my midas, not be so vain. I just can't. Pasha can't. No, she accepted upon herself. Too bad on her. So the Mishnah says a big aside here. Until now, we're talking about the woman. We care about the woman. Her husband smells real bad. He's a coppersmith. She could force a divorce. Now we're talking about the man. The man, we feel bad for the man. When he has relations, for some reason, some of his limbs could fall off. And we feel bad for him. We tell him, you have to get divorced so things like that don't happen to you. We're trying to protect him before we're protecting her. There's a story, there's a tanner who smelled really bad. Now, his wife falls liibam. To her great luck, she falls liibam to another smelling guy. He had special things. He was a great basketball player. He's a great guy, a good learner. You, I sat at the Shabbos day with you. You're a big loser. Plus, you smell bad. I don't want to be married to you. So he can't say, well, wait, you already accepted you already don't care about the smell, so you don't care about, we have the same smell, we work in the same factory. No. Smell / bad personality, that I don't want. Says the Gemara, right? 4 lines down. My polypus, what's this disease? What? Baal polypus. My Baal polypus. Omar Rav Yehuda Omar Shmuel, reach hachoitem. He has a bad smell that comes out of his nose. Kitzer, bad smells, doesn't matter where it comes from. There's a leak somewhere, I don't know. It's coming out. Ravasi, just picturing this. Something's wrong with the plumbing. Ravasi says that Shmuel said it's a bad breath. And how do you remember such a thing? Shmuel le'posik pume mikule pirkin. Shmuel's mouth, Shmuel said that's the mouth, Shmuel's mouth never stopped learning this perek. Or some say that Shmuel had a pshat in every one of these mishnayos. You'll see. I think the Taiz Rosh says this pshat. He does. Every one of the mishnayos, Shmuel has something to say about. So, if you remember that, Shmuel is the one that said it's from the mouth, not the nose. V'amekamitz. My mekamitz. What's this gather? Omer Rabbi Yehuda, zeh mekabitz tzoyas klovim. Take a look. I even have a picture of that. Here we go. So now, first of all, on the way here, I realized I used to be married to one of these when we had a dog. Every day she was mekabitz. No. Olav Shalom. Not nifter in America. You don't know about this? During the Chasen. Okay. No, Kiwi came here. And we said, you know what? We're taking care of you. It's your dog. Taking back. Daron is having a hole. There's a few people still singing Shiva. He took it. Yeah. By Shlomo, it's not only Shlomo Lazarian taking care of Kiwi, he also takes care of the dog most of the day. He brings him to the office. Baruch Hashem, Baruch Shebatrani. I find every day I come here, I find myself closing my office door because I don't want the dog to go in there. But there's no dog. It's just that I look all over the floor to make sure I'm not stepping on him. Hashem Yirachim. Okay. Zamakabitz Tzoyas Klavim. Rashi says, I don't know why somebody would gather Tzoya. And then he says, in Germany, in Ashkenaz, in Germany, they used to take, this is unbelievable, this is why the Germans are so sophisticated, they would take the Tzoyas Klavim and have their clothes sit in Tzoyas Klavim for 2 days and then wash it in the washing machine. Shmaka stuff. Yeah. There's once a guy goes to the Rav, a big letz, goes to the Rav, he says, Rav, I have 3 problems. Maybe you could solve it. First of all, I'm a big liar. Second of all, I have no taste. Third of all, I have no memory. So the Rav says, come back tomorrow. I could solve it. Comes back tomorrow, he says, sit down, here, take some chocolate. Takes the chocolate, takes a bite, he starts screaming, you covered dog feces with chocolate. He says, first of all, you're not lying. Second of all, you taste gewaldig. Third of all, you'll never forget this. Okay. Zok the Gemara. Says the Gemara, so we're talking about somebody that gathers tzoyas club. Meisvei, mekametz the bursi, but we're saying, how can you tell me that mekametz means to gather dog feces? It says it's a bursi, it's a guy that tans hides for a living. Utamech, wait a minute. If that's the case, tikshilach masnisen. Why? Our Mishnah is shver. It says 2 things in the Mishnah. Hamikametz, and it also says bursi. You're telling me bursi means mikametz. It's the same, one of the same. So why is it in 2 different parts of the list? It says the Gemara Bishlam Masnisin Kashya, Kam bebursi gadol, Kam bebursi katan. I just realized it's a little interesting because there's a few words in between. But says Rashi, somebody who's poor doesn't have a lot of hides. He does 1 small hide at a time. So that's 1 chisar and get divorced from him. But bursi gadol is also another type of guy that has a lot of hides. Okay, 2 different smells maybe. El Rav Yehuda Kashya. You see from here that mikametz means a hide tanner, not a dog gatherer thingy. Says Gemara Tanoi. The Sanya, okay, the Sanya mikametz is bursi. There is a machlokes what mikametz means. Some say it means a hide guy, and some say it's the dog person. What does it mean to be a coppersmith? Here, picture. The guy makes like kettles, makes things out of copper. No, it's a miner. So those guys, if you know about mining, they have to go deep into the ground. It's not a very geschmack profession, and they smell really terrible. She could demand a get. And now we have a riot to Rabbi Chana. It actually means not a coppersmith who's working in a shop and making nice things. Talking about a guy that's a miner. Now another halacha. Comes Rav and says, in addition to all these things that she could demand a divorce, but if a person says, I'm not going to give you any food, I don't care about your parnasa, I'm not giving you any food, I'm not giving you any support, nothing. Yaitziv eating suba, he must divorce her. So it's another person that must divorce his wife, she can demand a divorce. He tells Rav's contemporary, he says, you know what Rav says? Tell Shmuel. Rav says that if somebody doesn't, he says, I'm not supporting you, you can demand a divorce. Omar, Aksu Sari Lazar, you should feed him barley. Sorry, why? It's animal food. That's what he deserves to eat. Why force a guy? If you're already forcing him, you're twisting his arm, that he should give a get. Twist his arm so he should support his wife. V'Rav Sanu, so that's a good taina. What does Rav say? She's not mechuyev to live with a snake. He's a bad guy. One day he says he doesn't want to support her. They go to bed, then they twist his arm. So after they twist his arm, tomorrow you won't support her again. Then every 2 days she's going to have to run to Bezdin. So you force him to give a divorce once and for all. Fire to Yosef. Says the Gemara. Kisolek Reb Zera. Reb Zera went to Israel. Ashkechel Reb Yomi by Yefes. The Yosef called Amala Mishmei Reb Yochanan. Reb Yochanan was in Eretz Yisrael, right? Rav's in Bavel. So Reb Yochanan said the same exact halacha that Rav said, that if somebody doesn't want to support his wife, you force him to divorce. Amalei Alda. Exactly what you just said. Aksu Sa'arim le'Elazar b'Val. They fed barley to Elazar. In other words, it's not a good halacha. Omer Rav Yehuda, Omer Rav Asi. A ma'asin, you don't force somebody to give a get, ela lipsulois, only to those who are puzzled to him, like a kohen gadol with an almana. Ki amrita kamed shmuel, am kigoin almana kohen gadol, grush v'chalitz the kohen hediya, mamzer in the sin of Yisrael, bas Yisrael and nosam mamzer, all the psulim in the Torah. Avol nasi isha v'shoyma esr shana v'lo yalda. But if he married a woman and he was married to her for 10 years and she didn't give birth, ein koifin oisai. Again, right in the beast marriage, 22 years they were married. Yitzchak and he had a child. However, they're not living in sin. I mean, he has a chiyuv, pruvu, so he has to divorce his wife. But we don't force him. Says the Gemara, even if they were married for 10 years, we force him. That's the Gemara, but it says in our Mishnah, this is the list. I want to tell you that even though he wasn't over under the Raisa, like a person who has a bad smell, he must divorce his wife. He didn't do anything wrong. He has a bad profession. Was it? That's the chiddush of our Mishnah. We're not talking about Yisurim D'Oraisa. Elo Rav Tachlifa Baravimi listening us to Isha v'Shoyma as a Shana v'Le'al the Koifen Oisai. Why don't we say this one? It's not a D'Oraisa. It's just we're trying to get him to have to be Mekayim the mitzvah of Peruvu. Very interesting. Rashi here. Rashi says that Mid'Oraisa is not mechuyev to divorce her. So why do we force him? Because Rashi says he's side. This person, he knows he has to get married to another woman. But because he's married to this woman, he says, you know what? He keeps on pushing it off. I already have a wife. So he doesn't do it. So we say, no. If you get divorced, then that will force you to marry. Then you'll chap that you have to get married. So that's why we do it. All right, Zog the Gemara. Omar Rav Nachman lo yikasha ha b'mili ha b'shoitei. To convince somebody to get divorced after being married for 10 years, that you just talk to him nicely. You explain to him nicely, you have to get divorced to get divorced. Our Mishnah is a category of force. You have to use force. If a guy, he's a mukashchin, why would he want to divorce his wife? You can't explain to him nicely. You take a whip and you start whipping him. So the whole Mishnah is about whipping. You can't stick in the Eser Shanim over here. Unbelievable pasuk. You think you could talk nicely to somebody and convince him? It doesn't work. A slave, you have to take a whip and whip him. That's the only language they understand. Like the famous joke, the guy was in the bank, he made a whole Yerokas. They said, if you don't have your license, you can't take out money. He says, I want money. No, you can't. You need a license. Finally, they brought somebody from his min, and the guy walked over to him, punched him in the face. He says, so what happened? He explained it to me. Sometimes you have to explain it to people. This is the way you explain it. Not just convincing with your mouth. Sometimes you have to take a whip. So what are you telling me that if a person is married for 10 years and you're going to talk nicely to him, it's not going to work? You're right. Even a person who's married for 10 years, sometimes you have to take out the whip. You have to threaten violence. Otherwise, he won't do it. But in the Mishnah, so if she says, let's say she wants to stay married to Mukashchin. Well, the problem with the Mukashchin is we're trying to protect him. His limbs will fall off, etc. She says, I have an eitzah for this. I'll bring witnesses into the house. I'm not going to go close to his room. Nothing. I just want to stay there. Who? Okay. That's what you do. That's how you do surgery, plastic surgery, gorilla tape. It works. Okay. Yeah, sponsor. In honor of Yankee Baum and Moshe Horn, Bracha Hatzlacha b'chol Yonim, in honor of my uncle, Reb Eli Pressman, as a zchus for a year filled with mazel, bracha, Hatzlacha, Simcha, and parnasa berevach. Rabbi, I just want to mention, I know a lot of people skip the email, so I chap them over here right now because they're still listening. I want to ask you, Stam, what do you think the two pitfalls of Rosh Hashanah are when it comes to Gashmias? What two things do we always suffer on Rosh Hashanah Gashmias wise? I tell you like this. Number one, diet, gain a lot of weight. And number two, you fall off the daf. Those are two Gashmias things. Because daf is also Gashmias. So I want to encourage the Olam. This Yantif is always a time when people miss a daf too, and that's how the cycle of falling off the daf starts and breaks a lot of people. You miss two daf, then you get the scars. So first of all, if that chas v'shalom happens, you skip ahead. That we know. But I want to encourage the Olam to force yourselves to do the daf in Rosh Hashanah, no matter how hard it is, because, as the Mishnah Berurah says, you shouldn't sleep on Rosh Hashanah. Those who sleep on Rosh Hashanah, it's a zgula to be very sleepy the whole year. And those who are angry on Rosh Hashanah, it's a zgula to be angry the whole year. So if you do the daf under duress, I know it's not a lot of time and then Shalom was over late and the meal and the whole thing. You do the daf, it's a zchus to learn Torah the whole year, and therefore you should encourage your friends to do it as well.
Will you give a share?
I will give a shir on Rosh Hashanah Beis Hashem here in the afternoon, the second day. The first day we do the day before. The first day Rosh Hashanah, First day Rosh Hashanah right before Mincha, like an hour before Mincha. The second day is going to be Motzei Rosh Hashanah, and there's going to be a second shir on Motzei. So again, the second day of Rosh Hashanah, there's going to be 2 shiurim here at night. You don't have to be here till 12 o'clock at night, but you should just know there's 2 shiurim. First shir is the daf of that day. The second shir is the daf that I gave the day earlier on the first day of Rosh Hashanah, which is not recorded, so we have to record it. And if you weren't there, you can come and join us, Motzei Rosh Hashanah.
And then they can go home and sleep.
And then some of you can go home and sleep, but if you're the editor of the video, there is no sleep, Motzei Rosh Hashanah. Says the Gemara. On a regular Motzei Shabbos, he goes to sleep about 4. So Motzei Shabbos has 2 shiurim, there is no sleep, plus he has to be here in the morning for shir, so forget about it. And you could sleep during Rosh Hashanah, take a nap. Okay, so over here, by the 10-year guy who's married 10 years, we don't allow him to be in the house with his wife if there's Eidim. It doesn't help us. He needs to be married to a woman that can have children. It says, sorry. The Gemara brings the case, the other cases, the smelly guys, you can use Eidim. But what about a mukashchin? If she says, I still want to be married to him, this is not chutz mukashchin, Biktani, if she says she wants to be married, we let her stay with him. Even if she says by a mukashchin, I want to be with you with Eidim, we don't allow it. What just happened there? The opposite. Hold on, let's go back. The afagav the omra havina ba'adei lo shafkin. By a mukashchin, when she says, I want to stay with you with Eidim, we don't allow it. This nan, chutz me mukashchin, mevnei shemakasei. Viktani, and it says, Hasam, Viktani. Oh, Viktani, it's a kasha, right? That's the Gemara's kasha. It says mukashchin, even though you can't use Eidim. The Gemara, Hasam yamar davina dayron ba'adei b'sadei shafkin Allah. Even if she says she wants to live with him with Eidim, we won't allow it. Tanya. So this is not Eli Navi, because that's Yerushalayim. One of the elders told me, there's 24 types of shchin in the world. Relations are very difficult for them. The worst of the worst is called Rasan. What does it come from? The Sanya. Hik is dam v'shimesh, a person who did bloodletting. And then he had relations. Having bonim v'sikin. First time ever in my life, doctor told me that if you have very high iron, one of the only remedies today is bloodletting. Okay? There's no way to get it out of the body. Yeah? Okay. I'll let you know how it goes. No, I'm just kidding. So he has very weak children. But if both of the husband and the wife both did bloodletting, and then they had relations, having them bonim bali rasan. This is how you get rasan. That's only if they don't eat anything. Don't worry about it. My simone. How can you tell from the exterior of a person that he has rasan? Dolphinene, everything is leaking. Dolphinene, his teary-eyed. V'davi nechire, he has a runny nose. V'aisele rir mepume, he has a lot of spit. V'rama didve elevei, and he has a bunch of flies flying around his head. Umayasute, what's the remedy? Arabaya, this is Rabbi Isai, the first brain surgery in Shas, in the world maybe. You take pila, pennyroyal, pennyroyal, veludana, which is wormwood, right here, wormwood. Girda de goiza, a bark of a nut tree. Vigirda de ashba, and some pieces of hide. Bekalil malka, you take a lily. Umetachla de dikla sumka. You take a red date that has like a a shield around it, like something like that, like a little, I don't know what, like a little layer above it. V'shalaklu, you boil it by the adadi. Umayele levesa de sheisha. Throughout Shas, base of the sheisha, a marble room, basically refers to a place that you don't have like germs. Germ-free room. There's no airflow, so you don't have a problem of germs entering, something like that. V'loi ike base of the sheisha. And if you don't have this kind of house, Ma'ilo leveso the shav livne varicha, you take a house that has 7.5 bricks, which Rashi makes the cheshbon, it's about 22.5 tefach, which in our days, it's about 9 feet wide. A wall that's 9 feet wide. V'notale klas mo kosei areshi. You take 300 cups of this potion. Throughout Shas, again, 300 and 400 are always, or not always, many, many times, mostly exaggerations. 300 cups of this stuff. And this is crazy. At the Rafa, you pour 300 cups worth on the head. And what's going to happen? It's going to soften up the skull. At the Rafia Arisa, it's going to soften the skull. The moiche. Vikar la moiche. You open up the skull. Umaisi arbitar fidasa. Check this out. This is what's going on here. There's a sheretz that's on the brain. And you got to get the sheretz out. So you open up the brain, and then you take 3 leaves of adasim and you do this to it. You take the leaf and you put it underneath the foot of the sheretz. You pick up 1 foot, you put a little leaf under, because if not, what's going to happen is the sheretz is going to chapta, you're about to grab it, it's going to dig its nails into the brain and cause injury. Then you have to burn it. You grab it. It's not enough just to take it out and throw it into the sewer. You have to burn it, because if you don't burn it, it somehow could get back into the brain. So I just want to say pshat here, l'kavod noam. He'll tell me whether or not he likes it. The achronim say over here, there's a whole arichas dvarim, but this sheretz is really like bad thoughts, tmunas te'evos, something that's sitting on the brain. And the 300, you take a potion. The potion are the mitzvahs. You have to be mekayim mitzvahs. 300 is the 300 days of the year besides Shabbos and Yom Tov. And then they say you take the four alim are Torah. You have to chazer Gemara 4 times. Take that. Like that, you could uproot the ra, the bad machshavas v'chulu. And what are you tying? I made it up myself. All right. You're hacking a China. You knew it was me, right? You thought it was me. Yeah, that's why you said it's beautiful, but you don't think it's beautiful. Okay. Achroinim. Okay. You have to know what the woodworm is, how to fit it in, the whole thing. There's a big arichas over there in Achroinim. What? Okay, very nice. Yeah, I don't know about these things. I just know. Says the Gemara, what is the most dangerous creature in the world? Not ever humans, besides humans? Mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are the most dangerous thing. Says most people die from mosquitoes. The fly, the insect that's next to a guy that has Rosner could kill a human being. You got to be careful.
What's the insect in your muscle?
Huh?
What's the fly in your muscle?
I don't know. And the Sahara, Zvuvei Maves. What's it called? Zvuvei Maves, Yavishu, whatever. Okay. Huh? Amalek. Okay, but it doesn't fit into my muscle. Okay. Rabbi Zera Lehavi Yosef Bezike. It's interesting. You talk about corona, we understand it a lot better now, but here's in the Gemara. He wouldn't stand in the downwind of a person that had a disease. You could get it. It's airborne, he's saying. They knew about this stuff. Reb Eli, you wouldn't sit in the same room as him. Listen to this. Even eggs that have a shell that are protected, he wouldn't eat from the same area. They live in the same mavui. He wouldn't touch those eggs. Rabbi Shimon Levi, listen to this. This is the story, Rabbi Isai, and this is a Musar Haskell Shen Kamayu. Rabbi Shimon Levi mikrach bahu va'asik b'Torah. Wrap himself up. Go sit with these people that have Rosam, that if you sit within 2 feet of them, you could it's contagious. It's airborne. You could get sick in a second. It's a terrible disease. The famous Meiser was Rusal Salant. Which one?
Sit with the lepers and the
Yeah. Reb Eli used to sit with the people with lepers. Yeah, 100%. But what I'm about to say is a little bit more nageya, because Rabbi Yisrael Salant opened up a hospital when there was typhus. And he opened up the hospital, and who do you have work there? Guys from Koilel. And he swore to them, he made a shvur of some sort, he made a promise, he said they're not going to get sick by working there. They would work there. That's similar to this. He went into a danger place, and the Achroinim or whoever it is explained, I saw somebody explain, the Marsha maybe, that it's not danger. When you know that Torah is a protector, you're not putting yourself in a makim sakana. It's a fact. It's a protector. Man, no, you know, it was Chaim Shmulevitz. I saw it in Chaim Shmulevitz. So, actually, we went through it, me and Leiby yesterday, the big, very long Reb Chaim Shmulevitz. Yesterday, as I was coming to share, so again, Shamshi Shlafrak, I didn't chap that Imam she's holding in Kesubos, at least in Kesubos, he said, listen, tomorrow Sugya, you should be ma'ayin in the art scroll. So I looked over there, we went through it in the Koil and in Reb Chaim Shmulevitz, in the Michtav Me'el, tremendous, and the art scroll has a huge piece at the end of the Sugya about Reb Shimon ben Levi, so whoever has time should be ma'ayin, a beautiful piece. Omar, he said it was there 20 years ago, he doesn't know if it's still there, but it is still there. Omar, Ayeles Ohavim v'yalas chein. Torah has the ability to give you chein, charm. Im chein malo alimdea, if it gives you charm, aguni lo magno, what, it's not going to protect you? Says the Gemara, the famous story, he's about to die, Reb Shimon ben Levi. They told him, Zil Avid Le Reusei, do whatever he wants. Also, this Chazale. So he came to him, he appeared to him, here, I'm about to take you. Before you kill me, show me where my place in Gan Eden is. No problem. On the way, the traveling, he says, give me your knife. Why? I'm scared, you're going to scare me. Give it to me now, I don't want to have any pressure. You have an Eli. Okay. They told the Malcham Avos, do whatever you ask. Here's my knife. When he got to Gan Eden, Dalia, he lifted him up, maybe over a wall, maybe not. He shows him over here, here's your place. Shavar, Novala Ugisa. He jumped, he got to the other side. Seems from the Gemara, Malcham Avos doesn't have a right. They go into Gan Eden. Gan Eden is reserved for those who deserve it. So he's screaming, hey! Nakte Bekaran de Glima. Now, again, every time we learn Agata, there's the simple meaning on the top, and then there's the deep. There's the Maharal over here. There's the Reb Chaim Shmulevitz. There's the Michtam Elio. Any shot you want, but there's the basic. We're learning the basics here. Nakti B'Karna de Glime. He was able to grab his coat, part of his coat. Omalei b'shvu asad lo yasina. I'm swearing that I'm not going back. Omar Kutcher Birchus HaKadosh Baruch Hu gets involved there. If this person, Reb Shimon Levi, once made a shvu in his life, but then he went to a Rav, try to get out of it, then he has to go, then you see his shvuah is not the strongest shvuah in the world. So, we're going to chase him out of Gan Eden. Eloi, loy nahader. Of course, they found out that he never was shoyal. So, Meila, that was it. He was in Gan Eden, alive. Now, I believe it was the zchus Musa we saw it in, that we're talking about Aser Semei Tshuva, Rosh Hashanah, people make, New Year's resolutions. I'm going to, Be'ezer Hashem, do X, Y, Z. It's a very bad thing to do, especially with a neder, if you're not going to be Mekayim. Most people are not Mekayim. It's better not to do it. Because he's saying, don't say, I really had great intent, and at the end I was a shy gig, and a Kosh Baruch Hu is being moichel me. No, you're not going to get schar in the intent. Don't do it. You see over here, it's a problem to make a shvu and then go to a chacham and ask to get out of it. Omer lei, havli sakini, give me my knife back. Lo yahavela, lo yahava koyavle. He didn't want to give it back to him. Nafka bas kola, so Baskol came out. Omer lei, havna lei. What did he want from the knife? Once he has the knife, there's no more death in the world. You have to give it back to him. The mitzvah l'briyasa, it's good. The world still needs death. It's good. It's better for the world to be like that. He said in front of him, Panu mokim lebar levoy, makes room. Mach platz, they say in Yiddish by the Rebbe. Mach platz. Panu mokim lebar levoy. Rabbi Shua ben Levi is coming. Ozal ashkechel Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. Shimon ben Yochai was already in Gan Eden. He goes and he bumps into Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. How you doing, Rabbi Shimon? Dav Yosef al tlas asar tachte okay. Pisa 13 is Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai was sitting on 13 golden chairs. Amalei atu bar levoy. What? You're the famous guy that the screaming make place. Amalei, hey, yes. Did you ever see a rainbow in your days? Amar lei hein. Yes. Then you don't deserve the honor that they're saying for you. In other words, the keshet is a siman that Baruch is not going to destroy the world. In other words, if there's a big enough tzaddik in the generation, we wouldn't need a keshet. Says Gemara V'loi. Reb Shimon Levi lied. So you see from here, the Tas says in Or Chaim Tov Kuf Samachei that if somebody asks you, did you learn a certain mesechta? Did you do a certain mitzvah? You're allowed to lie and say no, I didn't do it. It's considered when we dark shalom. Over here, you see in the Gemara, you're allowed to lie for such things. But Reb Chaim Shmulevitz says from here an unbelievable thing. In Olam Haba. Here, let's just learn the next word. V'lai, midi. There was no rainbow in his days. He didn't want the covet. He didn't want. But Rebbe Shalom says Reb Chaim Shmulevitz. He's in Gan Eden. What covet? Everybody knows everything. Covet. Even in Gan Eden, he says, people still have their issues that they have in this world. They have covet issues. And then he goes on to say the very, very famous Reb Chaim Shmulevitz of Covet HaMeduma. I always thought that he was in the Beis Medrash and he heard somebody talking, but in Sichas Musa he says Mefurish, a different story. In 1936, he was with his Rebbe, and his Rebbe said that I got a letter from Chutz La'aretz, and they said, oh, the shir that you gave over in Reb Chaim, you said over Reb Chaim, was a beautiful shir. And Reb Chaim Shmulevitz was sitting there, and his Rebbe pointed at him, and he knew that Reb Chaim means Reb Chaim Brisker, but because he heard his name, Reb Chaim, he got a certain feeling of covet inside, even though he knew it was false. It's Covet HaMeduma. He says that's what Gaiva is all about. He knew that he wasn't talking about it. Still, it made him feel good a little bit. Covet HaMeduma. Anyway, I just want to point out a very strange fact that when the queen was buried, there was a double rainbow. I have a picture of it actually. Huh? Here's the picture. I'm not kidding. A double rainbow, which is very, very rare. And at the time of her death, there was also a rainbow. What the significance of that? In Yiddishkeit, a rainbow is a bad thing. But maybe it's like a shvuah. I don't know. I'm just pointing it out. It's a weird thing. If somebody has pshat, I'm not into the whole queen thing like the people in England, but a fact. It's not very, I know it rains every day in London, but they don't usually have rainbows, and certainly not a double one. In Manchester. Says Gemara, Reb Chanina bar Papa Shishvina Hava. Reb Chanina bar Papa was the best friend with the Yetzirah, with the Malcham Avos. When he's about to die, do whatever you want. The same story. Comes the Malcham Avos here, I'm here to take you. Leave me for 30 days. I need to repeat the whole Torah. We can sing the song later. So he left him alone. After 30 days, no, I'm here. Show me my place in Gan Eden. No problem. Give me your knife. He says, I'm not going to fall for the trick twice. Maybe you're going to scare me. You're trying to do what Yeshua ben Levi did. Bring a Sefer Torah and check it out. Is there anything in this Torah that wasn't Mekayim? Did you ever go to the hospital and deal with the people that have Rosan? You're not like Yeshua ben Levi. Nevertheless, he had a pillar of fire. So the last time we had that was also in our Masechta with Reb Eli, who used to throw adasim for the kala, and they called him a shoyta, this, that. But he had a mudad nura. People that are oisik and chesed, whatever. Okay. Fine. So Reb Alexander went to the fire because they couldn't get to the body. Omar, it's not nice. They see you're greater than them. You have the fire. They don't. The fire kept on going. Do for your father. Do it so that we could bury you. So the fire went away. Omar, this is the girsa, not the girsa. Basically, if you're not mekayim one thing in the Torah, something small, then you don't get this kind of honor of a fire. If you don't have a makkah when you need a makkah, no. Just then, there was a wind. Why don't they have this disease in Bavel anymore? They eat beets, they drink beer from hops. One more line. Why don't we have Mitzrayim? They have the Euphrates. Hadran aloch hamadris ishtoi. Hadran aloch hamadris ishtoi. Hadran aloch hamadris ishtoi. Have a wonderful day.